Listen Up with Jim Potts. Listen up, business owners, CFOs, human resource managers, and all managers and supervisors. Jim Potts is answering and addressing your questions and concerns, helping you stay out of court. Furthermore, please be advised that Jim's answers are not legal advice and are only intended as a guide based on his years of experience. The phone lines are open, 1-855-4-J-POTS. That's 1-855-457-6887. You can also email us at listenup@jameswilliampottsllc.com. Ready to listen up? Here is Jim Potts.
The following is a best of Listen Up with Jim Potts.
Jim Potts back on the air. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to me again. Whatever you're doing out there, running, jogging, swimming. Oh, you wouldn't be swimming. You'd be under the water. But at any rate, we appreciate you. We appreciate you tuning in and listening to me. The people leading the alternative lifestyle. This keeps coming back. People ask me emails asking for my opinions in this area. I hope this isn't getting to be an old issue for some people when I keep talking about this from time to time, but it's only because this is what's out there. And when people ask me questions, I try to respond to them and give opinions. And again, those are just my humble opinions. But at any rate, this new issue in North Carolina, that if you work in North Carolina, your employer now has to require men to use the ladies' room. Not all men, but some men. These men have beards, mustaches, and quite frankly, genitals. But they have to use the ladies' room due to the new law just signed by the governor out there. And if you're in business, you are now legally required to humiliate some of your customers and allow others to be, quote unquote, frightened by, when they walk in the restroom and they see these different gender issues with individuals, men using the ladies' room, etc. Look, you got to understand, this is an emotional issue. The person that sent me the email, just put anonymous. Everybody doesn't always like to say who they are, and that's fine. And hopefully the individual is listening today. But you got to understand that because it's an emotional issue, people are doing things that are unreasonable, in my opinion. We've got to accept in our society this issue of people leading the alternative lifestyle. Men in transition, women in transition. It's here to stay. And you've got to understand that legally there are going to be these laws that are going to come into place that's going to protect these individuals. And quite frankly, I'm an advocate. I think anytime somebody's held out as being different for whatever the reason may be, I think there has to be laws in place. It's not for us to agree or disagree. It's just the way it's going to be. Now, this person sent me some information and thinks about, in terms of the effect of this bill. And, some hypotheticals here. You're a business owner. A major client was born male but dresses as a female, considers herself a female, and has had the operation to become female. Now, you can't let her use the ladies' room. That's ridiculous. It's going to be is this person's, position. Look, we understand you're dealing with the public, you're dealing with employees. I have this discussion with my clients all the time, and some of the management training seminars that we do, and we talk about this business of the unisex restrooms as an example. We're going to have to understand at some point in this country, we need to go to all unisex restrooms. If we have unisex restrooms, we're not going to be in this dilemma, regarding what restrooms that people in transition use. And, these different states have different opinions. You have different people within the states. You have different people that are lawmakers that have different opinions about these things. You're just going to have to live with it. Now, another scenario that's given here was that the person was born a male but dresses as a female. The person considers themselves a female. Then the co-workers and their employer have accepted the person as a female. But now all of a sudden, because of this new law in North Carolina, the employer can't let the person use the ladies' room. They have to use the men's room because anatomically they're still a male. Now, it's the same thing with the customers. Then you got to explain to the customers why the individuals in the men's room and risk being attacked in the men's room by anyone who's either homophobic or just a rapist. Okay, now look, this is all very strange language. I mean, it's strange language, strong language in my opinion, and hopefully nobody's going to be, raping anybody in the restrooms behind all of this. I mean, I haven't heard any cases about any of that. I do agree about there are people out there that are homophobic. Those are more men, from what I understand. I'm not a psychologist or the person that makes those determinations, nor do I have any legal training in that area. But we have heard the stories of men who are homophobic, who have in fact beat up people that were either in transition or leading the alternative lifestyle. And that's what we have to understand, is that behavior is wrong for whatever reason, because that's an assault and battery. It can be a misdemeanor, and it could even reach the level of being a felony, depending on how severe that the beating is or if anything was used.
The following is a best of Listen Up with Jim Potts.
All right, got another email. And I guess this person was kind of upset about what she felt was an inappropriate joke that went on at her office. It didn't involve her, so she was on the outside looking in. And, she sent me an email to ask me what my opinion is about this particular practical joke that was played on the woman. Well, basically is what it is one of her female co-workers apparently had a stomach flu. And as a result of that, the other employees kept convincing her that she was pregnant. So here's a woman with a stomach flu, which causes her to be nauseated and having to run back and forth to the bathroom. So some of her co-workers, if you will, told her, you must be pregnant, you must be pregnant, you must be pregnant. So someone goes out and buys what they call an EPT kit for her to use to settle it once and for all as to determine whether or not you're really pregnant. So what do? They went out and got this kit. But where did they get the kit from? They bought it on Amazon. And it's a fake positive test kit. So one that when this woman would take it, it would actually show she's pregnant. So what do? They turn around and gave her this kit. She goes into the restroom, and apparently they could hear the screams out into the office area, because the woman started apparently freaking out because it tested that showed that she was positive in terms of a pregnancy. Now, this was not a younger person. This was somewhat of an older person, and I guess the coworkers thought this was funny. Well, this person that sent this in asked me my opinion about it. No, I don't believe in those kind of practical jokes. I think that those kind of practical jokes are inappropriate. I think that with all of these new laws going on regarding bullying and harassment and things of that nature, you've got to be careful about doing inappropriate jokes to create a hostile work environment.
The following is a best of Listen Up with Jim Potts.
Now, if the employer subsequently cancels or moves the shifts to another date or time, or subsequently requires the employee to work a shift not provided on the schedule, the employer must pay this employee this modification pay on top of his or her regular pay and any applicable overtime. Now, once again, I don't want to be political, okay? But you got to look at this and wonder, what in the hell is going on in Sacramento with some of this stuff? They are putting employers in a situation where employers don't want to do business in California with all this overregulation. It's ridiculous. Now, let me just go and expound on this a little bit more about this bill. If the change occurs more than 24 hours prior to the shift, but less than 7 calendar days, the employee receives an additional hour of pay. So that's what the modification pay is. They receive an additional hour of pay at his or her regular rate. If the change occurs in less than 24 hours prior to the commencement of the shift, the employee receives the modification pay that is at least equal to half of that shift's hours. Half of that shift's hours? When the shift could be an 8-hour shift? So 4 hours of modification pay? But in no event less than 2 hours and no greater than 4 hours. Are you freaking kidding me? You're going to pay an employee because you have to change their shift? What about emergencies as an example? All of a sudden there's an influx in business. You got to turn around and pay this individual 4 hours of pay because you changed their schedule? Listen, Sacramento legislators, I don't know if you can hear me or not. You're killing employers. Now, admittedly, there are certain exemptions to modification pay that includes, here we go, the standard acts of God. All right? So I'm glad that they remember that. Illness or vacation of another employee where the employee did not provide 7 days notice of said illness. Now, how in the hell does a person give you 7 days notice that he's going to be ill? Oh, I just want to let you know, I'm going to be ill next Wednesday? Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. Just to let you know, Mr. Employer, I'm going to be ill next Saturday. Now, I'll tell you what normally happens. They're ill on Monday. They're ill on Friday. But you know what? They don't give you notice of that. They want 3 days off. You think they're going to say, oh, by the way, don't worry about me. I won't be in on Monday because I want to be sick. Give me a break. All right? And the other thing is that another exemption is where utilities are unable to provide water, gas, or electricity, okay? So that causes the modification. So that's what they're saying. There was a gas issue, water issue, electricity issue, that's a little bit different. In addition, the modification pay is not required where the employer requires the employee to work overtime beyond the scheduled shift. Now, you hear about employers talking about moving out of California. They're moving to Texas. They're moving to Nevada. You wonder why? We need our California legislators to understand, that you're killing businesses. And the only thing I can think of is that the people that go up there to Sacramento and they call themselves the legislators, they've never owned a company. I can't explain it any other way. Because if they ever owned a company, there's no way that with some of this, they would actually be passing these kind of laws. You're strangling employers. You're telling me that if I got to change somebody's schedule within 7 days, I got to pay them this modification pay? And if it's less than 24 hours, I got to pay them half the shift? You got to be kidding. How many restaurants are out there? How many employees are out there? I'll tell you this. After this goes in, I want to know how many of you are going to be eating at a restaurant after this. Because I'm telling you, I would get a food tester if I were you. Because, what you're trying to do to the restaurants as an example, to me, is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, look, retail business is retail business. And there's a lot of retail. I mean, I don't want to say everybody that's in business probably in California has a retail business. The grocery stores already. So who does this not affect? Well, it doesn't affect law offices. It doesn't affect doctors. It doesn't affect, CPAs. But who else is there? Retail. Any product that you're selling, technically. Hell, I think we sell some products with some of our things. So maybe it does apply to us. So at any rate, look, California, you guys got to be more reasonable. All right, with that last comment, it's time to close out this segment. But let me remind you that you can also hear us on Facebook at Listen Up and subscribe to us on iTunes. Just search for Listen Up with Jim Potts. And as a reminder, we take calls every third Friday. Give us a call between 9:45 and 10:15, 10:30, and you'll reach us. Just call 855-4J-POTS, or you can call 855-457-6887. Or email us at Listen Up with James William at JamesWilliamPottsLLC.com. Okay, I'm Jim Potts. I appreciate you listening. I'll continue to fight the fight. Catch you next time.
Thank you for being a part of Listen Up with Jim Potts. We take your calls every third Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your questions and concerns. Call us at 1-855-4J-POTS. That's 1-855-4J-POTS. Again, that's every third Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at 1-855-4J-POTS. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes, and link up with us on LinkedIn. You can also email us at listenup@JamesWilliamPottsLLC.com. Until next time, make it a great week.